I'm Peyton, and this is Jared, and this is our first episode of KidTalk.
KidTalk is where we sit down and talk with people who make games, design games,
And pretty much anyone who likes games.
And today we're interviewing Mr. Ken Franklin,
who made an awesome game called Back to the Future
Dice Through Time. Hi, Mr. Ken Franklin.
Hi there. How are you guys?
Good.
I am so happy to be talking to both you, Jared and Peyton. You guys are my heroes.
Thank you.
I started playing with games when I was 5 years old, and there were no computers. There were no Zooms. There was none of that stuff. And my parents said to me, here, have a game, go back in your room and play. So what you guys are doing is amazing. And I'm really happy to be talking with you.
Thank you. Do you want to ask?
This is actually all of the games we have.
I think it is actually.
No, we've got more than 4.
Well,
Well,
do you want to ask?
Not even all of the games we have.
Do you want to ask your first question, Peyton?
Why did you make Biff a chicken in the Back to the Future game?
Oh, well, this game?
Yeah.
Yes. We have it right here.
All through the movies, one of the problems that Marty has is when people call him chicken, he gets all mad and does dumb stuff. And he has to learn to not do that. And one of the people who keeps asking him if he's chicken is Biff. So we decided that a fun little marker in the card to say this is when Biff shows up would be ahead of a chicken.
So is that why at the very last level where you do all 5 item cards is don't call me a chicken?
That's exactly right. The hardest level is the hardest lesson that Marty had to learn.
Did you come up with the Back to the Future game first and then the rules, or did you think up the rules and then thought that Back to the Future would be a good fit for that?
That's an excellent question. And sometimes you do it either way. Back to the Future, but Dice Through Time is not the first game I've designed. But in this particular case, I have 2 very good friends, Chris Leader and Kevin Rogers, and they have been very big Back to the Future fans their whole life. And the Ravensburger Game Company sent us a letter saying, we're looking for people to design a Back to the Future game. And Chris called me up on the phone and says, we have to be the people to make this game. I love it. And so I said, sure, Chris. And we got together over 3 weeks. We made this game. And then we showed it to Ravensburger. Everybody else said, well, we have maybe an idea. And we said, we're done. And so they said, okay, we're going to make your game. And then they tested it, and we made lots of little adjustments to it. Remember in the game, in the rules, when you're playing with 3 players, you draw 5 cards each turn. And when you're playing with 4 players, you draw 8 cards each turn.
Yeah.
Well, when we made the game, we weren't sure if those were the right rules. We wanted to make sure it wasn't too hard or too easy. So that's the kind of thing that you do once the company signs a contract and says, we're going to make your game. And that took another 2 or 3 months. And then it was just waiting for the artists and the factories to make it.
How did you think of the artwork? Because I really like it. It looks really cool.
I agree. I think it's amazing. And we didn't think of the artwork. Ravensburger Company did the artwork. And so the people who take the game from us, they hire artists and they say, show us what you would do with this. And then they talk back and forth and make the art cooler and cooler.
I like how you put 3 cars on the front and then made it like stars and lightning.
And then you made 4 cars in the box.
Right. Well, the 3 cars stand for the 3 movies. In the first movie, the Delorean just drove. In the second movie, it was the hover car. And in the third movie, after Doc Brown was back in the past, they had to make new time circuits with a bunch of old radio tubes and stuff, and that's what was strapped on the front of the car.
So is that the
brown one? Yeah, the brown one is from Back to the Future 3. The pink one is from Back to the Future 2, and the blue one is from the first Back to the Future movie.
So it's the DeLorean?
Yeah, they are all DeLoreans. It's the same DeLorean, supposedly.
So
I don't know if
it's
it's
just
more than one.
the different thing. So it's just them and it's showing what happened to them.
That's right.
Like first it was regular, then got newer and newer.
That's right.
At first, when we were reading the rules, I thought the DeLorean was the bad guy. It just sounds like a bad guy name at first when you hear it, and then it sounds like a cool name when you talk about the
My name
cars.
is Dr. DeLorean. See how you would come up with that. That would make sense. But no, a guy named John DeLorean made this really amazing car out of aluminum. And
Wait, what?
yeah. And it was really cool, and people loved it for a while, but didn't sell very well. But so now it's a collector's item. You know, there's
A collector's item?
that means people are taking care of the ones that were made, but they're not making new ones anymore.
Oh. Have you made any other games?
Like any other games, like at Ravensburger or something?
No, I have not made any with Ravensburger, but I can tell you the story. Back in 2011, I showed a game to a company called Calliopegames
Hey.
at the Gen Con. Yes, the Calliopegames that made Tsuro, which you've
Yeah.
already done videos about. And I just happen to have here my first game called the Mansky Caper.
Cool.
Back in
You made it?
Yes, I did. And my son Matthew did all the artwork for it.
I like it.
Yeah.
And what's going on is there's this evil mobster named Al Mansky, and he treats you guys dirty. And so while he's out of town, you're going to sneak into his mansion and take back all your stuff.
Cool.
But it's not a cooperative game, because the person who ends up with the most stuff is the new boss.
Whoa.
So you're kind of working together, but you want to have the most. And one of the things about it, it has real cardboard safes in each of the rooms that you have to reach in and draw out the money from.
Real
also-
cardboard safes?
Real cardboard safes. And also, Al is a little weird. His security,
Al?
Big Al Mansky, the guy who owns the house. So his security system is based entirely on TNT that will blow you up if you pull the wrong thing out of the safe.
Whoa.
So that's that game. And then Chris Leader and I wanted to make a game about roller coasters.
Roller coasters?
So we came up with Imagineers from Maple Games.
That sounds like a kind of toy we have called Imaginext.
Mm-hmm. Well, Imagineers is a game where you have this old park and you want to turn it into a really cool theme park. And each of you is helping make all the little rides, and each of you gets to design your own special roller coaster.
Whoa.
And the person who becomes the most famous roller coaster and ride designer wins the game.
So it's not cooperative?
It is not cooperative, but you get, if somebody rides your roller coaster, they get happiness, which counts points for them, and you get famous, which counts points for you. So you do things to help each other in order to get the most points to win, which is one of the things I really like to do in games.
So it's kind of like it's cooperative, but it's not.
That's right. I call it collaborative, which is a big fancy grown-up word that means you're working together and having fun together, but you're still going to have one winner.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I got to help on one other game before Back to the Future, and you may recognize this name.
Tsuro.
Phoenix Rising. This is the third Tsuro game, and it just came out. And in this one, instead of being dragons on the ground, you are phoenix birds helping people turn their paper lanterns into new stars in the sky.
Whoa.
So is it like the other Tsuro that you move around or on a board?
Yes, you move around on a paths on a board, but it plays very differently. And instead of trying to knock the other guys off, you're trying to be the first to make 7 stars.
7 stars?
It's kind of like Scythe. You need to let out 6 stars.
Yeah, but this one is you're flying around the board on the paths, on the winds, just like in the first game. But every time you pass a paper lantern, you magically turn it into a star. And if you do that 7 times, you win.
Whoa, that sounds really cool.
And you know the special thing, do you guys ever read Harry Potter?
Yeah.
We've been reading it.
Yeah, well, remember that Dumbledore's pet bird was a phoenix?
The what?
Albus Dumbledore's pet bird was a phoenix.
We haven't read to that part.
Well, a phoenix bird is one that supposedly can burst into flames and disappear and then be reborn. Well, in Tsuro Phoenix...
Minecraft...
Uh-huh.
In Minecraft, Bella, he accidentally let out a phoenix into a fire, and it looked like an actual phoenix, but it died.
Oh, well,
all of them got on fire.
In this game, if you are a phoenix and you fall off the edge of the earth, you can burst into flame and come back a second time. You get a second life.
How many lives do you have?
2.
2?
Yep.
But is that your only games that you've made?
Those are the only ones I've made that are gone in stores. That and the Back to the Future Dice Through Time. But you know what? I never thought I would ever have a game that was on a store. So to have 4 makes my mind go.
What was it like seeing your game on the shelf last Sunday?
I was shaking with happiness. And every time it happens, it doesn't get any less. Every time I see a game of mine on a shelf, it almost makes me cry with happiness.
I'm about to make a game, and it's very complicated, but it's not going to take long to make.
Well, I think that's a fantastic thing to do. I made games all during my growing up, all through high school. I sold a couple of little games when I went to college, but I didn't know that there was stores full of games. I didn't realize they existed. So go for it. And I hope you'll let me test your game, because testing games is the way you make them the best.
Yeah.
How about his favorite game?
What's your game called? Does it have a name yet?
It's called it's called Sideways Range.
Sideways Range.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds intriguing. I really want to play it.
What's your favorite game that you didn't make?
Ooh.
It's a really hard question, isn't it?
I have almost 350 games.
What?
We have almost only 100.
Yeah, you got a bunch there. And so I like to play different ones at different times. I have different favorites. My favorite little game is called Roll For It by my friend Chris Leader. Roll For It. It's a little game, comes in a little box about this big, and it's a great game because you could take it along on a trip. You could take it on a picnic. You can play it anywhere, and that's made by my friend Chris Leader. So that's one of my favorites. I really, really like Terraforming Mars, which is a very complicated game about making Mars a place you can live on.
We just got that game.
We didn't just get it.
We got it like 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's very complicated, but it's very much fun. And then the one that's easier that we've been playing a lot is called Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Quacks of Quedlinburg?
Yes, supposedly in this little town of Quedlinburg, they have a competition to see who is the best potion maker.
Potion maker?
Makers pretend to be doctors, but they're not really doctors, which is why they're called quacks.
Doctors that aren't really doctors are called quacks?
That's right. That's an old term. Did you guys know that I'm a doctor?
No.
Yeah, I was a family doctor. I went to medical school and graduated in 1981. And I worked as a family doctor in the Army for 25 years. And then in civilian practice in Michigan until 2017. And then I retired.
2017?
Yep. So 3 years ago, I retired and became a full-time game designer.
What's your favorite game that you made?
Oh, the Mansky Caper, easily. Easily. Because I made it up completely on my own. Hold on, I'm reaching over.
It's actually pretty much the only game you've made by yourself.
That's right. And here's one of the little safes. You can actually buy a wooden upgrade safe.
Is that the one you have?
Yeah, this is my copy. And the rule book is a comic book.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, once we were sent 2 games, and we got 2 comic books.
Yeah.
But they weren't one from one game, one from the other game.
And they weren't rules.
No.
Well, I want to ask a favor.
A favor?
Yes. Can I send you guys a copy of the Mansky Caper?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have one sealed copy of the Mansky Caper left, besides the one I play with. And so I'm going to send it to you guys so that you guys can see if you like it or not.
I think I'm going to really like it.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite game?
That is a very hard question to answer.
Because we have like 100.
I think maybe out of the games that are that size, the size of your game, it would be your game.
Thank you.
I like it because it's like not too complicated, but it has a lot of pieces.
Okay.
And it's also kind of one of those long games, so you can have a lot of fun.
Great. Well, I'm so glad you feel that way. And how does Jared feel? I mean, how does Peyton feel?
Yeah.
I already asked you, Jared. Never mind. Peyton, what do you think?
I think it might be Hughes and Q's. It's the game.
Yes, I know Hughes and Q's very well. Let me tell you, have you guys ever been to a game convention?
What's a game convention?
A game convention is where a whole big city opens up a big building and thousands of people get together to play games with each other and learn about new games.
Learn about new games?
Uh-huh. And,
like how to play, or like they learn that they're a thing?
Well, like some of them they're learning that they're a thing. But like the companies will show the brand new games that they're selling, and so you'll learn about them before they get in the stores.
That's cool.
Well, last year in Ohio, there was a convention called Origins.
Origins?
Origins, yes. And we had a friend named Scott Brady.
I feel like I know that name, but I just can't remember it.
Remember, because he designed Hughes and Q's.
Oh, that's where I remember it from.
Although he didn't have that name. And he said, I want you guys to play my game. And he hadn't had a company to sell it yet. So he had made the game, made a copy of the game, and he sent it out, and we played it, Chris Leader and I, because we're really close friends. And when we were done playing it, we said, you have to get a company to sell this game. This is amazing. And so Chris gave him ideas about how to talk to companies about showing them a game. And I gave him some ideas about what companies would be good. And over the next 2 days, he showed it to two more companies, and they signed him a contract. And that's how Hughes and Q's got to be on your shelf.
What's a contract?
A contract is where the company says, we are going to make your game, and you're going to let us, and we'll give you some money for every copy that sells. So like for Back to the Future Dice Through Time, I get some money, a little less than $1 for every copy that sells. But I want lots and lots of copies to sell because then I make money. That's how game designers make money.
Do you think we could ask you a few would you rather questions?
Sure.
The first one is, would you rather have the hiccups 2 days a week or that burnt tongue feeling all the time?
Oh, I go for the hiccups.
My
Because
mom and dad said that too.
hiccups always end. I don't want to burn tongue for the rest of my life because I like ice cream too much.
I like ice cream too.
Well, you wouldn't really get the burnt tongue feeling when you're eating ice cream.
Yeah, but the card said I would have it forever.
Yeah, all the time. Which means including when you're having ice cream.
Okay.
Actually,
the next
cream
one,
would burn.
would you rather live to be 100 years old or start life over from birth and live to be only 16 years old, knowing what you know now?
Well, since I am 64 already, if I picked to start over and die when I was 60, then none of my games would be made. So no, I don't, no, I would live to be 100. I have a would you rather question for you guys.
Oh.
Would you rather play your next game with one hand tied behind your back,
With
Or-
one hand tied behind your back?
behind your back so you could only use one hand, or would you rather play your next game where if you rolled the dice, you had to spit them out?
You have to what?
Spit them out. You'd have to put them in your mouth and spit them out. Which would you rather do?
I would,
Play with my hand behind my back.
because my game is easy, because all you need to do is just pick pieces.
Okay. So you don't have any dice in
That's-
you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So actually, I would do the dice thing, because I actually wouldn't have to do anything.
There you go. That's a smart answer.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Are you having fun doing what you're doing?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, because you're very good at it. You're working very hard at it. And if you can have fun doing things that you work hard at, you'll always be happy.
I think so too.
I
All
was
right.
wanting to do this. I was really wanting to do this.
Well, listen, please let me know when your game is ready to test, because I would sure like to meet you guys and test it with you.
There's a question that I wanted to ask you before we started.
Okay.
Do you like to build with Legos?
Who doesn't? I have used to have, when my boys, I have 2 sons, and when they were kids, we had so many Legos. We had 2 bins this big full of Legos.
We have one big, but it's really long.
Yeah. And so we have a little box now. We gave the Legos away to another school. But yes, Legos, yes.
We have a box like this big.
No, it's like, I don't know how long it is.
Actually, more
What's-
like.
What's the favorite Lego? What's the best Lego set you ever made?
That's a hard question to answer.
I ask all these hard questions.
I just made something today that I feel really proud of myself for.
What was it?
It's a Lego fan.
Turn it.
Hold it up a little higher. Oh, that's very nice. A windmill.
No, it's a
I-
fan.
Yeah, but it looks like a windmill. But it's still.
It can be a windmill.
I put weights on the side so that it would kind of like slow down like an actual fan. And I made it so it can do this, and it clicks. once it's slowing down, so it kind of sounds like a fan. Listen.
Oh, yeah. I love how you put the balance.
Put it by the microphone so you can.
I heard it. It was great. Okay, Peyton, what's your favorite Lego set?
I think I don't really have a favorite except all of them.
I like that answer.
Thanks for letting us talk to you about your game and the other games you've made.
I really like those cool games.
Yeah, I think my favorite was the Phoenix one.
All right. Well, I really, really like talking to you guys, and I'm really looking forward to playing more games with you guys. I know we've played a game together before, and I hope at some game convention we'll get to sit together at the same table and play a game.
I look forward to that.
All right.
And I'm hoping that I can make my game in like a week.
Well, like I said, keep me informed because I love playing new games.
I do too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching our first ever episode of Kid Talk.
I can't wait to do our next interview. I really like learning about his new games.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our new videos.
See you later.
Bye.